You're good.
Okay. I guess I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Mark Cole. I'm the founder of Frequency. We actually have two operations going. We have Frequency Caps, which is a psychedelic mushroom company, and then we have a healing center that's basically based around like a Soho House type membership for healers. So we're located in Topanga, California. I have a couple of acres of land there, and we developed it out with large bell tents and decks and ceremony space for healing of all kinds, sound and medicine work, and we even do stem cells and things like that. So the Frequency mushroom brand came out of my former life was one of a director, cinematographer for many years back in Florida on the East Coast, and I was very successful and kind of lived the, I guess, American dream of chasing status and whatnot through the film business, and the film business was full of alcohol and lots of other things. It was very stressful, and I found myself, I became very successful, but I found myself very miserable. And I had all the things that success could give us. I had big boats and a house on the ocean and lots of stuff like that, but I found myself really miserable. So I fell into severe alcoholism about 20 years ago. And I'm a pretty tough guy, but I could not seem to kick it. I went in and out of rehabs for a good decade. I did all the antidepressants, I did all the Western things they told me to do, and it just got worse and worse and worse. I ended up in, I think, 5 full rehabs. And it was quite demoralizing, quite shameful. Anyway, actually, right around now, 11 years ago, I went on like a 2 or 3 month drinking binge, I don't remember, and I ended up dying. So I was taken to the hospital for probably the 10th time of alcohol poisoning, and then they had to shock my heart and all this stuff. But I ended up in Los Angeles, and I went to my last rehab in Malibu. So it got me to Los Angeles, but this time when I got out, I started operating a little bit differently. I got back into AA, and my sponsor got me into Kundalini Yoga, which was very advanced and very new. It's actually it's ancient, but I happen to live about a mile from one of the best Kundalini studios in the country. So I started doing that, and then along the way I discovered ayahuasca. And I did my first ceremony 11 years ago, I think, when it was really underground. I mean, I didn't know what it was, and somebody told me about it, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but it sounds, I was willing to try anything. So I did my first ceremony, didn't know anybody, there was no prep, there was no anything. I just showed up with a sleeping bag on a concrete floor on a empty building on Lincoln Boulevard in Venice. And I just, I drank the medicine, and it literally took my head off. It just showed me literally everything I thought was real was an illusion. It completely shattered my belief systems. I felt to this day probably the most joy I've ever felt in my life. And I was like, whatever that is, I'm doubling down on that. So I ended up doing quite a bit of ceremonies, and found my way somehow to Topanga through the medicine. I didn't know what Topanga was, I didn't know anything about it. I just kind of followed source, and I ended up there. I had 2 acres there, and 8 years ago I started growing mushrooms because it helped me with this thing we call the mind. I didn't know what I didn't know, but I just knew that whatever this was, I needed to keep doing it. And it's still a struggle. We're still in business. We're doing very well now. But so the Frequency brand came out of 8 years of struggle of growing mushrooms. But what makes us stand out is that we're the only brand in our lane of growing it as medicine. We don't grow it to necessarily put in gummies or anything like that. The marijuana folks have taken over the industry, and we kind of know what they've done to marijuana. Marijuana is really not marijuana much anymore. It's really, it's a hybrid. It's been genetically modified, and it's actually addictive now. There's actually marijuana rehab centers, and so we're the opposite of that. We grow in a very holistic fashion. The frequency name came out of the fact that we grow it in a sound chamber of healing frequencies. It's similar to a sound bath. So the story of how that happened was one of the biggest problems with mushrooms is contamination with bacteria. And I was growing, and I kept getting wiped out with bacteria, and I was really frustrated, and I sold an ounce to a shaman friend of mine, and he did a deep dive with his client. They did like 6 grams or something, and they did a hero's journey, and he called me a couple days later, and he said, "Hey, are you open to some feedback?" I said, "Sure." And he goes, "Me and my client, we both independently saw you in our journeys." I was like, "That's really wild." And he goes, "Yeah, and we both felt your fear, and we both felt your frustration, and we both saw the contamination." He said, quote unquote, "Your frequency is in the medicine." And I was like, that's fair, because that's exactly what I was feeling. So I took my Kundalini yoga knowledge, which is all based in sound currents and fractals and sacred geometry, and I built a sound chamber, and we started, just operating differently, and we started playing these frequencies, and we've never heard that comment since. So this is a passion of mine. It saved my life, so it's been shown to me that I need to share this with other people, and that's what I'm doing now. So we work closely with lots of different people struggling with addictions, and quite frankly, we're all addicted to something. As the yogis say, we're addicted to our story. So that is something that we want to help people with, to kind of shatter this illusion of everything that we think is reality is actually not reality at all. So we're here in this Aquarian age, as we know, of consciousness to help create awareness. That's our headline, is creating awareness. We're not here to get people long-term necessarily, but by showing people awareness, they can find things that work for them, and then they can see the illusion, and then they can operate accordingly. And there's great relief in that. There's a really beautiful joy that comes with realizing that this isn't real, that this is a matrix that has been created for us to follow, and just knowing that there's a game helps you play it, right? So we're here to kind of help people find their own path, if you will, to guide them. And we guide through vast experience. We've been doing it for quite some time. I've been, personally, I guide ceremonies, and I do all the genetic work myself, so I understand the mushrooms. We actually communicate. We have a kind of a symbiotic relationship here. They're much like children, and they will act up, and so we navigate with this, and it's very exciting. So our real thing is we're protecting the mushroom as it exists in nature. We don't do any extract. We don't do any. We don't add anything to it because, quite frankly, we don't really know what's in a mushroom. And every single mushroom is its own individual DNA. They're very unique. As we change every day, but the medicine does as well. So one of the things that we offer at Frequency is when people do ceremonies with us, we actually pick the mushrooms live out of the bag. They're not dried. We're told that they're full of water, and when you dry them, we dry them for preservation so that they don't, spoil. And if we harvest a 10-gram mushroom, it'll dry to 1. And one day I was thinking about it. I was like, is that really water in there? When I squeeze an orange, the essence of the orange just comes out, like the juice, right? That's the nutrients. And when we cook vegetables, the nutrients come out in the broth. So I called a scientist friend of mine. I said, "What's really in there?" And he goes, "We don't really know." he said there's all kinds of different alkaloids and terpenes and stuff that create the entourage effect. But the point is that we're protecting the mushroom as it exists in nature as much as possible, and we serve it as Mother Nature intended it to, right? So this goes back thousands and thousands of years. Every major religion in existence today can be tracked back to some sort of psychedelic plant or fungus that they used for ceremonial purposes, including Christianity. The original Gnostic Christians used, it wasn't wine, it was psilocybin and DMT and some other things in there, been done very sacramental, and it totally makes sense to connect us to God or Spirit or the universe. So that went quiet when the Catholic Church took over in AD 490, and they switched us from a psychedelic-based world to a alcohol-based world. And we see where that's gotten us, including myself. As we know, alcohol pretty much severs your connection to spirit immediately, and even translated it from Egyptian, I think it translates to like mind-eating spirit or something. So, so the topic that I'm going to talk about today is the Aquarian Age. And so just as we have these, the human beings, our rhythms are based on moon and obviously circadian rhythm of the sun. So we have zodiac signs, and the day we're born is the imprint of the universe at that moment in time, at that location in time when we were born. Well, the Earth, so ours are 28 days based on the moon. Well, the Earth has the same, but they're 2,100 years long. So right around when Christ was born, we entered into the Piscean Age. And the Piscean Age was the age of masculine. It was the age of control. It was the age of sacrifice. It was the age of secrets. It was the age of domination. It was the age of competition, on and on and on. And obviously, you look back the last 2,000 years, and that's quite true. So now it's up for debate with different scholars and whatnot, that we've now entered into the Aquarian Age. And on the science level, what's happened is, well, let me back up. So the Aquarian Age is feminine. The Aquarian Age is collaborative. The Aquarian Age is transparency, no secrets, truth, that we all, and collaboration, where we all work together. And it's the age of healing, and it's the age of information that's available to everyone, or the internet. So these things were predicted long, long ago. And the science behind that is that the Earth has a frequency known as the Schumann resonance. Maybe you've heard of this. So the Schumann resonance is 7.83, and it has been for 2,000 years or so. But it's shifting, and the human brain or consciousness is attached to that frequency. So the brain in theta state usually lives around 7.83 to 10 hertz, just like the planet Earth. So we're synchronized with the consciousness or the frequency, the magnetic resonance of planet Earth. So what's been happening, though, if you look, it's on the internet, you can even look at it, it's been spiking, it's been rising. So therefore, I was looking at it not too long ago, and it spiked up to 41, like out of nowhere. And then it, spiked another thing, and I was like, well, what happened during that big spike? Well, COVID happened, right? And then the next spike was the war. And so consciousness is shifting, so thought is shifting. And everything comes from mind, Hermeticism. The universe is mental, right? So if this consciousness is shifting, I don't think it's really, I think it's no coincidence that psychedelic medicine, natural psychedelic medicine, has re-emerged in the Aquarian Age at the same exact time artificial intelligence has come out. It's not really ironic. They're here at the same time. And so I feel like there's two trains that have left the station. One is the AI train, and one is the psychedelic train. And it's like, this is one of the reasons we're all here, is to find alternative ways of thinking, alternative ways of healing. This whole thing wouldn't even be here if we were not aware of the control of the pharmaceuticals and everything else, right? So we're going back to, it's not just psychedelics, We're going back to ancient wisdom. We're going back to Stoicism. We're going back to tribalism. Because the human being, we survive as tribes. We survive as communities, right? Democracy is flawed from the beginning because it's based on the individual. Well, humans don't operate as individuals, right? So, you know, you can, obviously they're trying to separate us, they're trying to break up the families. You know, by doing that, they immediately double the tax base, and then the children are raised by the schools, and who knows what they're learning in the schools, but that information is controlled by the government, right? So this is the age of awareness, and we're fully in it, and most people are not aware of it. So the thing that is like the AI train is the train of information. It's the train of data. So no matter how fast it's calculating, no matter how fast it's doing its thing, it's still data, right? And it's still linear. It's not conscious. Psychedelics operate in, instead of learning or information, psychedelics are the thing of knowing. Like when you do a deep dive psychedelic journey, you can't describe it in language. There is no real language. There's no mathematics. These are systems devised by man to try to measure, quantify, communicate the infinite, right? So when we go into these realms, everything in your body experiences it, right? It's an intelligence that's far vast. It's infinite. And you know, the universe doesn't come at you with data, it comes at you with millions of different things that fall into you, right? So our brain filters out most everything because the human mind can only handle one or two things at a time. But the universe doesn't talk to us that way. The universe talks to it, you know, in thousands of ways at a time. So when you go deep on medicine, in fact, you get so much information, it takes you months to do what we call, you get downloads all the way, you know, through the week, through the months. I still get downloads from ceremonies I did years ago, right? So it's a fascinating time, but I feel like this experience is also wisdom, right? You can't program artificial intelligence for wisdom. You can't program that to be profound. You can't program it to be insightful, right? So I think that the information that comes in, the experience that comes in with psychedelics, especially, you know, we're in the business of mushrooms, but obviously there's many other ones. There's ayahuasca and lots of other ones, but these natural things are intelligent. So when you eat a live mushroom, it's alive. It has intelligence to it. It's not a molecule that's dead. It's not a molecule that's dry. It knows what to do. So when we guide ceremonies, my job is to not interfere, really, because the intelligence of the medicine is far superior than any human would ever have, right? And we're different people every day. So, you know, the intelligence behind that is quite fascinating to watch, and the revelations that come into people it's insanely beautiful, right? So the awareness, again, in each individual is unique. And, you know, through this awareness, we start to see that we, as the Buddhists say, we create our own misery. Like our thoughts, our story is an illusion of who we think we are, right? So when we're born, there's no program, right? We're just pure consciousness. That's why when you look into a baby's eyes, no matter who you are, you start talking like a baby, right? And you start, you know, because you're connecting with yourself when you were pure consciousness, right? So joy in the spiritual world is actually the removal of thought. So when we remove thought in deep meditation or a deep psychedelic journey, we find joy. So it works on a subtractive process. The whole concept of this stuff is to unwind the misery that we created for ourselves, right? So when we're growing up, we don't have any programming. So our parents, our society, you know, school, they're telling us who we are or who they want us to be. Usually our parents are telling us who they wanted to be, and they raise us this way, but that's not who we are. So we have this battle of this personality that was developed by other people telling us who they think we are and who we really are deep down, right? And this is a battle in the brain, the battle in the mind, and we're always fighting this. So I find that three main things happen in a deep dive hero's journey. Is what we want to do is we want to do what we call ego death. We want to kill the sense of self, the illusion of who we think we are. And when you remove that, you have you start to see how everything operates, how everything is connected, how the consciousness really is in every living thing. And the beauty in that is you can't describe that, right? So once we are aware of that, we can reprogram our life and find purpose again. Because I feel like if we don't know why we're here, if we don't understand why we were given this gift of life, we're always going to struggle. You know, the Buddhists say, be the stick that flows downstream. So don't try to swim upstream, right? So there's a reason we're here, and I believe it's attached to archetypes. Like, you know, ancient archetypes of the tribe. There's the hunter, the tent maker, the doctor, the entertainer, whatever, and together, if everybody did their job, the tribe survived, right? So that's how we operate in communities, that's how we operate in families. And if we're just getting up in the morning to go make money, that's not really a purpose, right? And that's, in a capitalistic society, this is what we're taught to do, is to make money, right? So you work at something you hate all day, and then you go at the end of the day and try to buy happiness or pleasure with the money you busted your ass for, and we know you can't really do that, right? So it's designed for misery. And then, you know, we're watching TV shows. I know I made them. I'm creating, it's called television programming for a reason. It's programming you, right? Of what happiness is. And, you know, you're watching a TV show that when you turn 35, you have a picket fence and mom's, you know, wearing pearls, cooking breakfast, and Billy's a good little boy, and dad's driving a Ford with the felt hat. And then you get there and you realize, wait, I got a 30-year mortgage. I can't afford anything. I'm locked in. And oh, you're stressed, here's some credit cards, right? You max those out, and now you're not going anywhere. You're trapped, right? You can't really find purpose, so you're just a slave now, right? Now you're stressed. Oh, you're stressed, here's a little bit of alcohol. Here's some antidepressants, right? Addiction is good for the economy, right? So if you think about it, the number one value in our society in capitalism is data. Right? Well, where does data come from? It comes from the addiction to the phone, right? They want us on the phone all the time so they can harvest our data, right? So everything is addictive there. And then obviously underneath that comes, you know, drugs and alcohol. And then, as the yogis say, you know, we get addicted to our story. So people ask me, like, what was it about the last rehab or the last time you went in that made you really change? And I used to think, well, I did ayahuasca, and I did all this stuff. And then it hit me, I don't know, about 5 years ago. It wasn't that. It was when I was deep in my darkness, drinking myself to death, and I couldn't stop. I realized that I had a story. And we all have a story, again, of who we think we are. And it runs in the subconscious and the ego, and the subconscious mind is the nervous system, and it's at least 10 times the power of the conscious mind. So it will, if you're unaware of it, it will always win, right? So mine was, I was a middle-aged, washed-up alcoholic director, right? So no matter how many AA meetings I went to, no matter how many rehabs, no matter what, somehow that thing was going to overpower, and I would pick up a drink. And the ego has to be right. And the ego would go, see, you are an alcoholic. You are an alcoholic. I go to left to you, see, you are unlovable. Validation, validation. And then, of course, when we validate these thoughts, we give power to them, and then this is how we commit suicide in like 30 days. Just go down, right? So what I realized is through all this work that I had done, I changed my story. That's not my story anymore, right? So now my story is very different, and my ego or my subconscious looks for ways to validate that, right? So this is about changing our story, but you have to be first aware that you even have a story, right? So, because the brain will literally not see or hear or record anything that doesn't validate its story if you're unaware. It's like science has proven this. It's a filtering system. If it does whatever you say to people or whatever, they won't even record it because it doesn't match their belief system or it doesn't match their story, so they don't even hear it. They don't even see it. You can show them proof and it doesn't matter, right? So again, it goes back to awareness. So I think this is an amazing time of awareness, and again, the fact that these conferences are even around is showing us that this is a revolution of the mind. This is a revolution of thought. And we change the world by changing the thinking of the world, by changing or making people aware that ancients knew what was going on, right? They really did. And the practices of meditation, the practices of yoga, and all these things that are ancient are all about controlling thought. And this is, Yogi Bhajan used to say that be careful, the mind is not your friend. He would say, the mind will tell you to put a gun in your mouth, pull the trigger, and be glad you did it. And then he would go on to say that the mind is not even yours, right? So then we open up the door. I like to use the example, like how does one talk to itself? How do you talk to yourself? You have to have at least two voices. So who's talking, who's listening, right? Are you the observer or are you the generator, right? So a lot of these thoughts are not always ours. Quick story, right when I got out of rehab, maybe a year into it, I was going to Kundalini yoga class every morning, and I woke up one morning out of nowhere, just suicidal, like for no reason, like I wanted to harm myself, and I was like, what? What's happening? So I run to class, and the guru gets up there, I can't remember who, but a very seasoned woman, and she gets up and she says, hey, did anybody have these thoughts this morning? And she listed off my thoughts. Suicide, harming yourself, whatever. And half the class was like, what? I raised my hand, she goes, yeah, I got those thoughts too. She said, they're not yours. They're the collective thoughts that are being broadcast. I went on to say that, the human body has 63,000 miles of wire known as the nervous system. We're an antenna. We pick up things. And if we don't have a strong mind and a strong aura, we don't know what's happening. And we think these are ours. These feelings of doubt, these thoughts that are just not good for us, right? So when you become aware of them, you just look at COVID. The pandemic was not the virus, it was fear. The speed of thought travels faster than anything because the brain is entangled into the quantum field, so it happens instantaneously. So again, back to awareness. So what we're doing, we're over on just a couple of things over at the frequency booth there, but we're sharing our wisdom, strength, and hope with people, as well as the medicine, to help crack these neural pathways and scientifically break them so that we can repattern them and reprogram them. And it's not, it depends on how long you've been thinking these thoughts, but every time you think a thought, you give more power to it and the neural pathways become stronger and stronger. And as the Taoists says, watch your thoughts. Thoughts become habits, habits become your destiny, meaning your identity, right? So this is the programming we have to break so that we can rewire things that are not in a subconscious habit. Because, for example, worry. I used to worry all the time, and I'd have $500,000 in the bank, then I would wake up panicked for no real reason. And I was like, why am I panicked? Well, I had worried so much that it was a subconscious habit, just as me driving a car, right? You don't drive your car, your subconscious mind drives your car. Your conscious mind is like looking at like the GPS and not to crash into people, right? So these automatic things, they become who we are. So the microdosing, the deep dive medicine work is one that will shatter these things. So 80 to 97, this is science, 80 to 97% of your worries will never happen, yet we live in them, right? So I make the analogy that these windows, these worries, illusionary, they're not gonna happen, are like windows open on the desktop of your mind, right? They're all running, there's 100 of them, they're all running, they're taking up space, you can't think, you can't, you're just distracted you're looking at life through a straw, trying to solve these problems that are never gonna happen, right? So, but then the bad part, the really bad part is the body being objective observer of thought thinks it's being chased by a bear or something, it thinks it's in harm's way, so the body's releasing the chemicals of adrenaline, the chemicals of cortisol, and we're living these stressful states for decades, right? And this is how disease sets in, this is how cancer sets in. Heart attack is caused by stress. Well, stress is, I call stress an opinion, right? So psychedelics, microdosing, they work on a subtractive basis. They shut these windows down. They don't divert thought. They don't, like an antidepressant, they don't try to rewire your brain or numb it. They remove it. They start shutting these windows down. And as they do that, you start to zoom back and you start to see, wow, everything's okay. This is how you gain more energy. You're not gaining more energy. You're stopping the leaks. You're not wasting it. So then you become more aware, you become more present, and then the body starts to relax, and then you start a whole new pathway. So anyway, I'm getting the sign to wrap it up. But if you guys want to come see us, we're, like I said, we're a couple aisles over under the Frequency banner, and come see us.
I'm already starting my
dresses, all handmade. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Check 1, 2.
You can hear me good, huh?
Yeah, hi, Sheila.
Are we good?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Do they announce that the speaker's speaking now, or they?
Well, I
they don't
just
do
called.
that?
I just called
Okay,
her.
good.
Yeah.
And then I'll wait a minute or two.
Oh, okay.
Hello. The talk is going to be starting in 1 minute now.
Go ahead and start. I would start. Okay, we made the announcement.
Okay. Well, we will start now anyway. It's not sure what time it is. It's 2:09, so we're 10 minutes late. That gives us only 20 minutes. So I better get going. Hi. My name is Phil Wilson. I've been promoting far infrared saunas for 23 years now. Before that, I had a health food store and I was selling massage tools and nutrients, supplements, wellness accessories, and a lot of other products that can help you feel better, look better, and tune in to that which you are and get connected and be more free. The goal is freedom. Of all the products I've ever sold, and I opened up a health food store in 1980 in Columbus, Ohio. It still exists 45 years later. And of all the products I've ever sold or promoted, the Relax Far Infrared Sauna is the pinnacle of these products to help you get into the moment, cleanse your body, purify you, get you tuned in, help you feel revitalized, help you function more optimally in this life. We all know that a clean engine works better than a dirty engine. That should be taken for granted. So this talk is going to be on the benefits and the purification and the revitalization that one experiences through the use of far infrared saunas. I will explain what far infrared energy is, how it differentiates from red light and near infrared energy, and how it works in coordination with all the other energy medicine devices that have come out in the last 10, 20 years. You've all heard of Tesla, I'm sure. You've all heard of Edison. And there's a man named Jacob Lieberman, an eye doctor, and they all have said that energy medicine is the medicine of the future, frequency medicine, light energy, and of course inner sound as well. But the everything, according to Pythagoras, vibrates. There was and so the water's molecules in your cell vibrate, we vibrate, all animals, all plants vibrate, all minerals vibrate, everything vibrates. It's all a frequency. There's something called Rife. If you have it, that came out, Rife machines in the 20s or 30s, 1920s, 30s. If you have a certain disease, if you have a certain frequency and you get that exact frequency, the disease can be eliminated. There's cancer has been, there are solutions to healing cancer have been given out in the last 100 years by Hoxsey, by Brzezinski, by Gerson, and dozens of other people have basically brought out that they have found a way to cure cancer. And of course what happens, the FDA says we don't like this, it's getting in it's interfering with profits of the pharmaceutical industry, and or I don't know what, but anytime since 1909, anytime you start coming up with alternative medicine, people who promote these things get clubbed to death, disappear. I know during the COVID years, Aaron Elizabeth kept on posting about 100 different naturopathic doctors somehow ended up, quote, committing suicide. And so, you know, there's a war against alternative health, and it's sad, but you know, I secretly have been for the last 55 years promoting holistic health. I got into fasting in 1971. I got into tonic herbal products, using them, and so that's a little history. But since I only have another 15 minutes to talk, I want to be able to be more efficient. I usually don't like to talk this fast, but we need to get the information out. Far infrared energy is a special frequency that's the same as human energy. Far infrared saunas, the whole purpose of this is to vibrate your water molecules. Now we have it set up here. We have room for 2 people to get in the sauna while I'm talking. So would one of you want to get in? And if you would, just get a seat and you can go in. I don't know why Dagny left, but she's supposed to be putting people in. But go on in, yeah. Okay. Anyway, Far infrared saunas were introduced into this world in around 2001. They were popularized, and the industry was spawned when Dr. Sherry Rogers came out with her book called Detoxify or Die. And she was an environmental medical doctor, and she spawned an industry by relating the stories of how multi-chemical sensitivity, people with multi-chemical sensitivities and environmental concerns were left to dead by the medical establishment. And they came to her, and she got them all better in the late 1990s using far infrared saunas. In 2004, the Mayo Clinic said that far infrared saunas are extremely therapeutic for their heart patients and recommended all their heart patients use them. They also said do not use finished saunas, do not use hot tubs, because those saunas heat you up on the outside, but they don't do anything to the inside. If you go to YouTube and you put in relaxed sauna testimonials, and you go do a search for it, and you'll find all these videos on the relaxed sauna. You click on the relaxed sauna page, then you put on videos, and then you search for Lyme, for example. You'll find about 20 different testimonies about people who don't have symptoms of Lyme. Now, Dr. Yamaguchi had done a lot of research in Japan, and he says that upon application of the 7 to 14 micron frequency of far infrared light, what that does, that vibrates the water molecules, and that also hence releases toxic poisonous gases from the body because it weakens the ionic bonds between the hydrogen and the oxygen. It also gets rid of heavy metals. Hippocrates says, find me a way to create sweat and fever, and I will cure disease. So by increasing the body temperature, now there's a guy on Reddit.com who did some research. He saw all the research on far infrared saunas. And what far infrared saunas do, they do many things, and basically when you have a body temperature increase or a fever, what you do, that 5 things happen. You detoxify the body, number 1. 2, you increase the circulation and get rid of the heavy, and you get rid of the inflammation and the pain, and you lower blood pressure. Number 3, you oxygenate the body, you flood the body with oxygen. This kills the anaerobic bacteria, and it also can kill parasites. But the most exciting thing about far infrared energy, besides the detoxification, is that it activates the parasympathetic nervous system and gets you into the now where there's no pain. I have a definition of pain. It's the awareness of time. If you're worried or hurried or waited, those are all painful activities. And when you get into the now and you get connected with, it feels like when you go into the relaxed sauna for 5 to 7 minutes, it feels like you're being hugged or loved by a loving grandma. It feels like you're on the beach in Hawaii. You're in the presence of a great being who's giving you great love, like a Qigong master, or a great guru, or a grandma, or anyone who is just shining love upon you like a mother would on her baby. Or it feels like you're basking in divine love. I tell people in 5 to 7 minutes, that's what it feels like with a relaxed sauna. Now there's a study, a guy went on Reddit.com, and he pointed out that, he said, okay, the far infrared saunas are supposed to do all these things and increase heart rate variability, and that's the golden means of the effectiveness of a sauna, is how much it increases heart rate variability. He tested an Amazon sauna. It increased body temperature 0.5 degree. In 25 minutes, it had no effect on heart rate variability. He was very disappointed. He got a $500 Amazon sauna, same results. Then he got the relaxed sauna, increased body temperature 3.2 degrees in 25 minutes, and the heart rate variability increase, which is the HRV, is the acronym for that. And what it does is the heart's ability to handle anything in life. Stress and everything like that. So that it blew him away, the results he got from the relaxed sauna. We also had a man in Florida test the relaxed sauna with Jules, and then he tested this lady before she got in and after she got in, and he couldn't believe the results. So these are the kind of results we get from the relaxed sauna all the time. We sent the relaxed sauna. Oh, by the way, and the guy who did that study, he says, I'd like to recommend the Amazon saunas with cold showers, but I can't because they didn't get the job done. And so even though, but I would definitely heartily recommend the Relax sauna. It blew me away when I started doing my numbers, and this is the sauna that he recommends. So we've been around since 23 years. The Relax Sauna company was asked by a Japanese company to create an energy like hot springs in southern Japan. And so what they did is from 1987 to 1997, it took them that long of research to find a way using a new technology called semiconductor chips. And the semiconductor chips take the electricity and filter it out and give you pure 100% far infrared ray, the same frequency, 7 to 14 microns, that Dr. Yamaguchi says this is the only frequency that vibrates the water molecules. And so anyway, we sent a $1,300 portable sauna, a $250 Amazon sauna, and the Relax sauna to Harvard MIT Science and Technology Lab. It came back. The Relax sauna was 100% far infrared ray. The $1,300 sauna was 8%. The Amazon sauna is 0%, and the Relax sauna was 350 and 450% more penetration intensity than the other two saunas. And we also had 1/12 the EMF. Dr. Yamaguchi and 180th the EMF. Dr. Yamaguchi says also that far infrared energy antidotes sunburn and it antidotes EMF. So if you have a microwave device like this that emits microwave energy, far infrared will protect you from that, between 7 and 14 microns. A friend of mine in Oklahoma has tested 14 EMF protecting devices, and along with the Relax sauna radiator, the Relax sauna radiator is more effective of getting rid of the damage caused by EMF and protecting you from further EMF. So the far infrared saunas, if you go onto the YouTube, there are thousands of them. Everyone has, says my sauna has done this, and they all have a few reviews. The Relax sauna has 1,000 different testimonial videos on YouTube. Now, about 200 of these talk about how these people had different saunas. At one conference, I sold 4 Relax saunas to 4 people with $8,000 wooden saunas in their home as an upgrade. Now, the reason for this is because we give you the exact frequency. See, people are talking about near-infrared and mid-infrared and red light, and near-infrared penetrates 1 to 2 millimeters, is good for the skin. Mid-infrared is good for the muscles, but far infrared is good for the skin, good for the muscles, goes to the core, and also vibrates the water molecules. It's only when you vibrate the water molecules that you're going to get the detoxification effects. It's not the sweating that does the job. The sweating in the Relax sauna, you will sweat more profusely in the Relax sauna than you will in a 1 hour in a 280 degree, 212 degree finished sauna, and you'll create more heat shock proteins with the Relax sauna because of the technology. We use semiconductor chip technology, not carbon panels, not ceramic, and that's the difference. It's the difference in the technology. This is a $20,000 sauna selling for $1,700. It is 3 times more effective than any $8,000 wooden sauna. If you go on go to our website, or go to our booth over there and try the sauna for 5 to 7 to 8 minutes, I guarantee, besides the fact that it starts up in 30 seconds, and most saunas start up in 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, this starts up in 10, 20, 30 seconds. It's portable. It comes in a little bag. It fits in a suitcase. It takes 8 minutes to start sweating. At the shows, we tell people, you go in for 5-7 minutes, I guarantee 50% to 100% of your pain will be gone every time, without sweating, with your clothes on. Those are the kind of treatments you can do at home. The Relax sauna will transform your house into a home, because where there's a home, there's a hearth, a place of warmth. Stories. Karen Russell, heavy metal toxicity for 30 months. Lead and mercury off the charts in her blood report. In 45 days, the blood report came back. the lead and the mercury were normal for the first time. She lost 67% of her cellulite. She, her skin was no longer dry, and everyone said she was radiant. She also lost a lot of weight. I put a guy in Albuquerque about 6 months ago. I put him in, or a year and a half ago, I put him in at a conference, and he had sciatica pain, 7 and 8 pain, constantly for 6.5 weeks, constantly. Maybe he'd been on for 3 to 5 pain, he'd be able to sleep for a couple hours. He did a double dose, he did 7 minutes, then he did it again, and what happened is all his pain was gone. And he jumped up and down and said, look, no pain, he couldn't believe it. And then he gave me about 30, 40 minutes worth of testimony. Another person came in and said, oh my gosh, my mitochondria, I can feel it. One person, Dr. Klinghart's partner, and he's the one that's introduced the dangers of EMF to the Western world. And his partner got in, took it up to the hotel room, and her elbow pain for a year was gone. Vaccine-injured nurses, 2 of them cried because for the first time in 2.5 years they had feeling in their fingers, or they could feel the circulation in their legs. I could go on and on with stories. People say they've never slept as good. People, one lady was bit by a recluse spider, didn't even know it, and then when her acupuncturist said, by the way, she'd been using the sauna all the time. You know, sleep arthritis pain, always gone. Fibromyalgia, very helpful. Restless leg syndrome, neuropathy. 6 cancer clinics have been using the relaxed sauna in the last many years. Dr. Brian Clement travels with it. He called it Costa Rica. Do you have a sauna? No, he took the relaxed sauna in his suitcase to Costa Rica. If you're into the dangers of vaccines, Judy Mikovits, Sherry Tenpenny, all bought saunas from us, along with Carrie Madej, Dr. Brian Ardis, Dr. Edward Group, Dr. Henry Ely, Dr. Paul Thomas, Dr. Robert O'Young, Dr. Sandra Michael, Robert Scott Bell, Dr. Christiane Northrup, Dr. Larry Polevsky. All these people have bought saunas from us and have proed it. Many of these people say this is by far the best sauna. There's a $1,300 portable sauna. In the last probably 6 months, we sold 20 relaxed saunas to 20 of these different individuals as an upgrade, because the other one does not feel as good. See, it's the loving light, the 7 to 14 micron frequency that Dr. Yamaguchi talks about. That's the active ingredient, just like the active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin. The more curcumin you have in your turmeric formula, the more effective it is. All saunas are not alike. Angela Drake, a detox specialist living in Las Vegas, says all saunas are not alike. She gave away her higher dose blanket. She gave away her $1,300 portable sauna after she got the relaxed sauna. A world of difference. You know, it's usually it takes me 45 minutes to an hour to cover all the bases, to answer questions, talk about the fact that it takes to relax sauna 3 minutes to set up, 2 minutes to tear down. And if you go to YouTube, go to the Relax Sauna website, relaxsaunas.com, or go to relaxsaunas.com/superior. And go to the booth over there. We have literature there. We have order forms. At this conference here, we're doing a special for today and tomorrow, $200 off. The silver sauna sells for $1,700, shipping's $50. We'll do it for $1,550 at the conference. If you want to get the black sauna, the black sauna tent is thicker, but it was made for rich Taiwanese people who wanted to feel special. And it's got the embroidered logo on it, but it is thicker and it does retain the heat. If money's an issue, you get the silver sauna. If you have a high-end spa and you love the way it looks and brings joy, get the black sauna if you have the money. I used to pay 7 times much for colored staples and silver staples because it brought me joy. So if money's not an issue and you love the way the black sauna looks, get it. If money's an issue, the silver sauna we've been selling for 23 years, and it is about 900% more effective than any other sauna. The black sauna 950%, not much difference. My name is Philip Wilson. I do live in Las Vegas. If you want to call me, you are able to do that as I finish up my talk in the next 30 seconds. My phone number is 626-200-8454. It's on the order form at the booth. My email is phil@relaxsaunas.com. What is that?
101.
Booth 101. And I appreciate your attention. I wish I could talk longer and longer. But if you go to our website or relaxsaunas.com/talks, there's about 20 talks I've given. I've given about 30 interviews, and the Relax Sauna is special. I've been using it for 23 years. I use it 20 minutes every morning. Sometimes I use it 10 minutes at night before I go to bed, and it puts a cup of coffee to shame in the morning. And it's one of the major appliances every house needs. A washing machine, a refrigerator, a stove, and a Relax Sauna. It will make a difference in your life. You will be grateful. And this is gratefulness training. When you go in afterwards, you feel grateful. I better go before they get upset. So thank you so much. Okay? Bye-bye.
1, 2, 1, 2. If you're sitting on this side, you may want to hold over here to be able to see this. Maybe easier because I'm Can you see? Hello, my name is Epi Kakavali, and I am a certified iridologist. Okay. Is that better? Oh, that goes. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for coming. Have you ever thought about your health? Are you aware of any special conditions of your health? Are you concerned that there may be underlying conditions? Should I hold it? Okay. Is that better? Okay. I can't hear anything up here. Shall I start over? Okay. Are you ready? Okay. Hi, my name is Pepi Kakavali, and I am a certified iridologist. When you think about your health, are you aware of any special conditions of your health? Are you concerned that there may be underlying conditions that might surprise you in the future? Early awareness gives you an opportunity to take preventive measures to help you avoid serious conditions in the future. Iridology may hold the answer. The eyes are the window to your health, emotions, and spirit. Today I'm talking about the physical health of iridology. The emotions and the spirit, you hold the spirit, but the emotions is a different formula than what I'm using here today. What is iridology? Where did it originate? How is it used? Defining eyes, eye color, and the benefits of iridology. Those will be the things that I'm covering today. So what is iridology? It's a study of the color, pigmentation, and structure. It reflects the assessment tools to show strengths and deficiencies. It relates to the body systems and the organs. It's a master science of genetics. The markings go back 4 generations. Whoops. Do you know your parents' health conditions? How many do? Okay. Do you know their parents' health conditions? Wonderful. Most people don't go back past their parents. How about past that? Anybody know that? 4 generations. So that's what we're looking at, this is the master science in genetics. Has anybody here ever had iridology done? Wonderful. Was it recently? No. How many years ago? Over 5. Most of the time I get, it's over 20 years ago. I heard about this 20 years ago. It's never usually 5, 10, or 15. And some of them say, I have no idea what this is. Not a clue. So where did iridology originate? Modern iridology originated back in the 1800s. The first practitioner was Ignan von Priestley, and he was out of Budapest, Hungary. Dr. Bernard Jensen is noted as the founder in North America, and I had the pleasure of meeting him back in the 80s, the early 80s. I was at a holistic health fair, just like we're doing here. And he said, "Can I look in your eyes?" I said, "Sure." Back then they didn't have computers in the early 80s. He had a magnifying glass with a flashlight, and he looked into my eyes. That was when my seed was planted, because I had a physical 2 weeks before, and he looked at my eyes and in 30 seconds told me what was on my physical. At that time, I was working for corporate America, didn't work in my life, but that seed was still planted. Fast forward 10 years later, I have his daughter-in-law is in a health convention just like this. She looks at my eyes. She says, "I see that you've had a health issue." And I said, "Yes." And she says, "Not that long ago. My timeline was 7 months. She estimated 9 months." It was like amazing. Again, that seed was planted. It was starting to grow, but I still didn't know where it was going to go. My background at the time was human resources, and I got tired of shutting down facilities, laying people off, and firing them. Now, this seed that had been planted is now growing. This fit into my life at this time. So you never know what you're going to discover at one of these conventions. Amazing. I was never thinking of it. How is iridology used? It's a tool to assess inherent strengths and deficiencies in the body, where they are located in the body, what organs are affected, how they can prevent illnesses, and proper nutrition and exercise. You can be healthy and unaware of underlying health issues. Healthy people are people who really care and want to know how to stay healthy. So I have a chart here. Those that are sitting over there, I don't know if you can see it from here, but this is the chart that I use. The R in the middle of the pupil is your right eye. The left is your left eye. They're not exactly the same, but pretty close. So this is the chart. It was developed by Dr. Bernard Jensen, and that is the one that I use. There are 7 zones in the iris that we look at. Oops. The first zone, which is right here by the pupil, is your stomach zone. The next zone is your intestinal zone. The next zone is the blood and the lymph. Next one is the muscles, then the bones, again your lymph and your blood, and then your skin. And depending on where we see markings will depend on what area is being affected. So defining the eye color, the blue eyes are a lymphatic eye. And this is a blue eye, that's a lymphatic eye. The dark brown eye is this one down at the bottom, and that's a hemogenetic eye. And then a mixed eye is a blue and brown eye, which is right at the end. And that's called a biliary eye. So people that have blue eyes, how many people have blue eyes? Anybody here have blue eyes? Okay. Their inherent weakness is the lymphatic system. Do you know how the lymphatic system operates? It's a clear fluid that is called the lymph, and it works towards the heart. It's circulation and the immune system. The fluid is mostly sodium, which holds the calcium in the bones, and keeps the joints pliable and limber. Manually moving this fluid makes the heart pump through the body. It's not like having a heart that pumps the blood through our body. You actually have to move this fluid. So what's good in doing that is skin brushing. Anybody knows how to skin brush? If you don't, come and see me. I'll let you know how to do it. Deep breathing, just doing that exercise will help with moving the fluid. Jumping on a mini trampoline, using an invert table. Does everybody know what an invert table is? The one that flips you upside down? That's moving that fluid. Getting regular massages is a really easy way of doing it. Gives you time to relax and to be able to not do a lot of work. All of this helps with arthritis, stiffness, and aching muscles that can form when that fluid is not moved. The dark brown eyes, which is the one that we see right down here, okay, their weakness is blood and glandular issues. A few potential health conditions are thick blood, thin blood, being anemic, having circulatory problems, who has dark brown eyes? Anybody here? Okay, do you have problems with circulation? Are your hands cold or warm all the time? Okay, that's usually the area that we look at. They usually have cold hands, cold feet. Anemic, circulatory issues, unable to store essential minerals. So the minerals are really important for the dark brown-eyed people. Then we have the mixed eyes. Who has mixed eyes here? That's a biliary eye. Okay, so the weakness is the liver and digestion issues. Is the liver and the was that a big yes? Is the liver and digestive considered to be a filter? The liver filters the blood coming from the digestive tract. The liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas work together to digest, absorb, and process food. Why an iridology analysis? You don't want to be blindsided regarding your health. Do you know your body has a voice? Does everybody believe that their body has a voice? Okay. The question is, do you listen to it? Do you, kind of, maybe? Yeah, okay. If you can learn that lesson on listening to your body, it's not going to steer you wrong. It's there to help you. We just need to be still and to listen. Ask the question, what does it need? What does it want? And then do what it says. But you have to listen. It's making those small changes that make a big difference. Eating healthy food, exercise, hydrating your body. Who really likes to drink water? Okay, most of the time, most people don't want to drink water. So it's like, okay, I'd rather do something else, eat a candy bar. But I don't want to drink water. Getting enough sleep. How many people get an 8-hour sleep? Wonderful. Very good. That's one, that in itself is helpful. How about keeping your stress level down? How are we doing with keeping your stress level? Wonderful. Well, you're on the road to the right road. The benefits of an iridology analysis, it points to potential inherent strengths and deficiencies of organs, glands, and tissues. It points to the gastrointestinal disorders, hypoglycemia, blood abnormalities, and heart issues. The pupil border reflects the area of your spine. The pupil border is the black center of your eye. If you've been in an accident, there's a possibility that part of your pupil border has flattened. If you had a spine injury on the top part of your spine, which is the cervix, which is C1 through 7, then that's where the chiropractor, if you believe in chiropractors and use them, that's where they need to adjust your spine so that your pupil border will go back to being round and not flattened. If it's on the sides of your pupil, then that has to do with the thorax. That's 1 through 12. That's where the chiropractor will need to do his adjustment. And if it's on the lower part of your back, or lower part of your pupil, then it's the lumbar, 1 through 5. So it's really important for chiropractors to know where that flattening is. And we see that when we take pictures of your eyes and talk about that and how to get that straightened out. So when I do an analysis, it usually requires 2 appointments. One to take pictures of your eyes, and then I analyze your eyes. And then we meet, and I go over what I have found in the report. It's a 5 to 7 page report is what I do. And the last 2 pages are a narrative, because there's a lot of information that I cover, and the chances are you're not going to remember. So I break it all down from the report so that if you need to go back to see what I said when I was looking at your eye, you have the reference for it. That analysis ends up taking about anywhere from 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And I have an official chopstick that I use as my pointer, and it's official. So what do you get for a full analysis is you get the 7-page report, the consultation, pictures of your eyes that I email to you along with the report, along with a lot of other additional information. What the benefits are for, drinking apple cider vinegar and water, skin brushing just to get the circulation going. Just lots of information. I skipped one of my notices here, so let me go back. So what's covered in a comprehensive report is I look at the constitutional type and the structure. Are you a blue-eye person, which is a lymphatic? Are you a biliary, which is a mixed eye? Or are you a hemogenetic, which is a dark brown eye? I look at your structure. Are you neurogenetic? What does that mean? Do your fibers come out straight? Or are they wavy? Those all mean something when we're looking at it from a health standpoint. Are you polyglandular? The prettiest eyes ever. They look like daisy petals. Not really good from health standpoint, but boy, they're a pretty eye. Connective tissue is a loose fibers. However, they're not like a formed petal. And then there's anxiety titanic, where you have lots of circles that go around your eye, and you can see them a little bit right here. That's from a mother that says, come on, let's go. You got things to do. Hurry, hurry, hurry. They're always in a rush, and they have 15 irons in the fire all the time. That's what's causing a buckling in your iris. I look at the physical resiliency. I look at glycemic diaphysis, which means, do you have high cholesterol? This person, potential for high cholesterol, that white creaminess around the eye. Doesn't mean they have it, but there's a potential there. And somebody in their family probably has high cholesterol. I look at central heterochromia. Okay, that's this one here. Does it have color in the middle? If there's some yellow, is an indication of kidney issues. If there's orange, pancreas. If there's rust, liver. So they all mean something. I look at the collarette sign. Collarette is, it's like a little star that goes around this third zone. That's talking about your colon. I will know the condition of your colon, whether you're run on the constipated side or you have loose stools. If it's really close to the pupil, you're going to be more constipated. If it's way out, you're going to have more loose stools. It's amazing what the eyes reveal. I look at the nutritive zone because that goes back to family history. The pupil size, is it big? Is it small? And I already talked a little bit about the spine, where it having a flattening. I look for rarefication of fibers. This is a rarefication of fibers right here, where you can see there's some dark coming through. That's telling us about a little bit of weakness in that area. And we look at the sclera, and the sclera is the white part of your eye. So when we're looking at the colored part of your eye, we're looking at the colored part of this chart. When we're looking at the sclera, which is the white part of your eye, we're looking at the white part of this chart. And we basically look at all of the organs and tissues and stuff that are on the outside of the eye. When I do this report, then I look at how can we help you do things at home versus seeing a doctor. I give you hard copies of testing that you can do at home to test your pH, to test your thyroid. If you have candida, teach you how to skin brush, and what's really good about apple cider vinegar. I give you a nutritional chart that you can refer back to. I have a great recipe for super tonic, AKA fire cider. So if that doesn't tell you it's going to be hot, nothing will. But it's wonderful for keeping people from getting the flu. I have a chart on foods to avoid and alternatives. It's making those small changes that make the big difference. Thank you. So iridology follow-ups, we suggest every 2 to 3 years to see if anything has changed in your eyes. See if a pigment has formed. A pigment is like a freckle on your eye. So we look to see it, did it get bigger? Did it get darker in color? Have other ones formed? If there's any changes in a lacuna, if you put your hands together like this, that shape is a closed lacuna. Open it up, that's an open lacuna. And those are shaped in the eyes. So we look to see if there are any open lacunas that now have been closed. We look to see if there's a cholesterol ring that has formed. And we check the changes in the pupil. Some people only study the pupil border. What is around this black area? That's all they study. Some people just study the white part of your eye. I love color. I love the iris. The first thing I do when I get someone's eyes is to look at the color. I take a moment and I look at how beautiful those eyes are. Look at the color here. You can't make that up. It's beautiful. Health-wise, not so, but from an artist standpoint, it's beautiful. So I am running a special here this weekend. A full analysis usually costs $250, and I'm doing it for $195. I do offer a mini analysis for $99, which identifies 2 to 3 items. And it doesn't have a report. I email copies of your iris, and then we have a 45-minute consultation on what I found. And if you want photos of just your eyes for art on your wall, that's $50. And so, my name is Pepe Cacavalli Ebert. My number is 702-219-9217, and it's easier to stop by my booth, pick up one of my cards, and you'll have all the information. I want to thank you so much for being here, and I hope this was helpful and educational to you. Can somebody tell me something that they learned? Anything? Thank you very much. Thank you.